Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tara Khalid. I'd like to welcome to our program here at Sharjah Media Corporation on doing good. And we hope by Allah's mercy and grace that you are among those who are striving on a daily basis to enjoin good, to forbid evil here and then in your family, then in your community, in your nation. And whatever your capability might be, that you become a champion of those things which are righteous and wholesome for all of humanity, for the sake of humanity, for the pleasure of Allah only, that you pass on good virtue to whomever is willing to listen and whomever wants to get the benefit from it. And you will get the benefit from Allah. And also at the same time, hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, whatever society you live in will benefit from that. And of course, that society, if they are listening and obeying the commandments of Allah, then among them, Allah will grant them Sakina. Sakina is a kind of tranquility that only Allah can give. Let's say a total satisfaction, an internal peace regardless of your condition or your present state of affairs, that Allah gives you this essence which distinguishes your feeling, your actions from what is normal, resolves your issues, and makes your life calm. For lack of all of those things and more, as an example, because there's no single word, no single sentence really that can describe Sakina. So think about this in your relationship today. What is it that you're going to do to help your society become a better society? And I want to mention one of the negative things that in many societies are accepted. And now I'm finding that it's actually being allowed in cartoons, these kinds of video games that young people are participating in. And a lot of people don't see any harm in it. I remember when it was not allowed in the movies, it was not allowed on television. Okay, so I might be telling my age by saying that. So it's still shocking for me to hear people cursing and saying some very filthy and vile things in front of a screen, when all kinds of people are looking or listening, or people unexpectedly hear these things, and also those things which are directed, which are derogatory about or directed at other people. So let's see. The Prophet ﷺ said, reviling a Muslim is disobedience to Allah, and fighting with him is unbelief. This is from Bukhari and Muslim. He also said, cursing a believer is equivalent to killing him. Abu Darda reported the Prophet ﷺ as saying, men given to cursing will not be witnesses or intercessors on the day of resurrection. It is collected by Muslim. And Abu Huraira reported the Prophet ﷺ as saying, it is not fitting for a truthful person to be given to cursing. It is collected by Muslim. And Ibn Mas'ud reported the Prophet ﷺ as saying, a believer is not given to taunting or cursing others, nor is he shameless and foul mouth. It is collected by Tirmidhi. Abu Darda reported the Prophet ﷺ as saying, when a servant of Allah curses anything, the curse goes up to the heaven, and the gates of heaven are locked against it. Then it comes down to earth, and its gates are locked against it. It then goes right and left. If it finds no place of entrance, it returns to the thing which was cursed. If the thing deserves a curse, it stays with it. Otherwise, it returns to the one who uttered this, collected by Abu Dawood. So, among some people, and in different aspects or different places in different societies, people curse, they use vile language regularly. It's become a normal thing for them. They curse other people. It's become, even some people think it's funny. You find comedians who use this kind of language and make fun of people by using this language. All of this is unacceptable in Islam. And if we think about it, how do you feel when somebody curses at you, or, and I mean uses a vile language at you, or calls you out of your name, or he actually wishes a curse on you? And if any of us have experienced this, it is not a good feeling. And in most instances, what do you want to do? Right away, you want to respond. Either you want to curse him back or you want to fight him. Okay? And I can remember when we were growing up in New York City, there was a time where we had guys, we used to call it rank on you. They would just say all kinds of things about you, and everybody would laugh. And if you were not a person who could get back at them, you would just feel very bad. And this is the kind of bullying, and this kind of bullying is going on today among young people and elderly people also. And for example, you brought a bunch of guys, you're playing ball in the park or something, a bunch of guys, and this guy, he's just making fun of you in some kind of way, and you don't have the verbal capability to counteract him. So the next thing you're gonna do, just to keep back from shame, you're gonna hit him. No matter what, you're gonna hit him, just to maintain your self-respect. So now you find yourself in a fight, okay, an example, because of this. And this is still going on, and people get killed and wounded and injured every day because of this. Being called out of their names, or someone using some kind of racial derogatory statement to impress others, or whatever his intention may be. And as a result of that, the person responds very harshly. This is not accepted by Allah. So I'm saying this because some people, they don't realize it. It's become just normal for them. And they expect other people just to accept, well, he's like that. He curses like so-and-so, so, he's not going to change. It is not acceptable. And the person will have to come before Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ said more or less, it's reported by Imran bin Hussein, while the Prophet ﷺ was on a journey, there was a woman of the Ansar riding on a camel, who, being annoyed by the camel's noises, cursed it. The Prophet ﷺ heard it and said, take everything off its back and release it, because it has been cursed. Imran said, I can still see the camel in my mind's eye, wandering among people and no one bothering. And this is collected by a Muslim. Amr bin Qais said, when a man rides his animal, the animal prays, "Oh Allah, make him kind and friendly to me." But if he curses it, it says, the one who disobeys Allah and his messenger, on him be the curse of Almighty Allah. So the animals themselves even sense this kind of behavior. If you ever seen somebody, for example, a guy rides a horse and he beats the horse and he's cursing the horse and he said, you so and so and so, or a camel, whatever it might be. And I think this was common in places where, in some places, particularly where people still, this is their riding communities, they still ride camels and horses, as an example. And you find some people who are very vile. And as a result, their behavior and their speech is such towards these animals, especially when animals do something that they don't want them to do. And similarly, there are those people who do the same thing to other human beings, not thinking that this is actually bullying, and they are using that in whichever method, for whatever means that they desire, Maybe they have an upper hand over the person for one way or another, an employer and an employee, as an example, or a manager, or someone on a team in athletics. You have a coach. I've seen some coaches who their language, you didn't want to be in the gym with them. It was so vile and so horrible. You're like, oh my goodness, why does this man have to do this? And let's see the worst, let's say one of the worst things that a person can do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has cursed the one who curses his parents and the one who abuses his mother. Now, we have people today who do this. They curse their parents, curse their mother, because their parents or their mother is not doing what they want them to do. She is not accommodating their wishes. They have become so spoiled by their lifestyle or their mentality that they think that their parents are their servants, that they should be there at their beck and call to do whatever it is that they choose for them to do. This is a huge mistake. If you are one of those people, or if you know someone who is, then you should warn them. You should warn them. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said more or less something to the effect, woe to the person who their parents die or get to an old age and they haven't served them. They are saying some simple things of disrespect to their parents. That person will not enter paradise. This is serious. Now, there are people who can say, well, I don't care. I have to live my life. My parents are like A, B, C, D. Fine. If your parents are not good parents, if they have mistreated you, for example, they haven't done you justice as a child, that also happens. Don't curse them. Pray for them. The Lord guides them and makes them correct parents, that they correct their lives. Your father is a drug addict or alcoholic, or your mother, an example. It's not going to help her or him to curse them. Yes, okay, they have been negligent in terms of raising you. Maybe they didn't care about you, as an example. You were a child born out of the wedlock, they didn't care. You were a child as a result of a one-night fling, they didn't care anything about you. Look, in that condition, would you want them to be in hell forever? Think about that. Sure, you might think that they need to be punished, but forever? Negligence is there, and there's a lot of reasons for it, and we're not trying to justify that. But at the same time, look at the reality of the hellfire. Understand that. So minimally, you should want those people to repent and correct their lives. If they don't, they're headed for hellfire. Where whatever they have done in this life is nothing, not a grain of sand, not even like an atom's weight compared to what they will pay in the hellfire. So for your own sake, for your own benefit, pray for them that Allah guides them to the correct path, that they can repent and correct their lives. And you rise above them in terms of your relationship with Allah. That you relieve yourself of the grief and the pain that you have experienced because of them. Sure, you can say, well, brother, you haven't experienced what I have experienced. That's true. That's true. But I also realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one who elevates and He's the one who degrades. So you need to look at this. If you have been treated unfairly, which would you prefer? To be degraded or to be uplifted? Forgiveness uplifts you. Cursing degrades you. Unfairness degrades you. Lying, cheating, stealing degrade you. Slandering degrade you. So which choice would you take? If you have the opportunity to reach a higher level, go for it. Doesn't only make sense. But you have to believe. The problem is that many people don't believe. They're stuck in the past, or they're stuck in a set of circumstances that they are experiencing now. And as a result of it, they're going through a phase of depression, even though they may not recognize it as such. Due to the impact of what has happened in their lives, they themselves do not have, they're not cognizant, let's say, of their life in relationship to the people who have oppressed them or the people who have exploited them, whatever terminology that you want to make, whether it's parents or whether it's friends, whether it's employers, business partners. We have to try to rise above it. When we try to rise above it, then we get the help of Allah and we get the benefit from Allah. We do not want to be in the same situation as the people who have taken the course or the path that's away from the belief in Allah. We don't want to be trapped. They think that they're free. No, they're trapped. And they allow themselves to be trapped by their own desires. And their desires have run away with them to the point where they're exploiting others to satisfy themselves, which they could never be satisfied with. And they become lost in that pursuit, as opposed to, again, reflecting on what is their present state of affairs, what is it they should be doing to correct themselves so that they can do what? They can be most pleasing to Allah, which will what? Lead them to paradise. And what? Away from the hellfire. As opposed to dwelling on their deeds and actions which are incorrect, which are extremely sinful, which will send them to the hellfire. Make your choice today. It's an easy choice. It may not be that easy for you to implement, but call on Allah and ask Allah to help you do this and follow the correct path for the sake of your own soul and your eternal salvation. My name is Tariq Khalid. I'd like to thank you for joining us here at Sharjah Media Corporation and doing good, and keep doing good, keep doing good. Stay focused. Don't leave it. Don't allow yourself to be distracted. It's for the sake of your own soul. Barakallahu feek. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.